Busch Grand National coverage from Richmond, Virginia.
A good bit of talent in the Busch series.
Somebody's putting a mark on a 1-to-1 right now. One Winston Cup winner, one Busch winner. So I think somebody's keeping count.
The competition on the Busch Grand National Circuit is tougher right now than I've ever seen it.
They benefit from beating us. They ought to be glad we're there because they can make us look bad.
We welcome the Winston Cup guys to come and run with us. They're the best, and it's sure fun to beat them.
Richmond International Raceway. We're on this cloudy afternoon. The showers have stopped and we're about set to go racing to see if indeed parity has been achieved between the Busch Grand National regulars and the Winston Cup drivers on this 3/4 mile short track super speedway. Hello everybody, I'm Mike Joy and welcome to Richmond and TNN's live coverage of Busch Grand National Racing. Neil Bonnet, we've seen already at Daytona and at Rockingham. Certainly the Busch drivers have the equipment and the funding to run with the Winston Cup invaders.
Mike, it seems like every race we go to, we see more and more strength. They keep coming with better equipment. They're sitting on the pole. They've got these Winston Cup guys really working hard. They don't have an edge on them anymore like the Winston Cup guys used to. The Busch guys are there, and they're ready to race.
The Winston Cup drivers are used to coming in and pocketing the big finishes and the big money. But these Busch teams, they're now well-heeled, and they're getting the best possible factory parts and pieces. And the game has changed.
Yeah, the game has changed to the point where they used to chase the Winston Cup guys. Now, in turn, the Winston Cup guys are starting in the rear. That edge is gone, and I don't know what they can do about it. The only thing I can say, they're going to have to race hard to beat these Busch guys nowadays.
And they'll have to race from back to front. 9 of the first 10 drivers on the grid are Busch Series regulars. And for the second week in a row, a Busch driver has taken the pole. Let's meet our pole position winner with Glenn Jarrett.
Well, thanks, Mike. Jeff Gordon, you've been showing the Winston Cup guys, and anybody else for that matter, no mercy at all. 2 straight poles. Does it give you a special thrill, special pleasure to beat those Winston Cup guys their own game?
Well, anytime you can sit on the pole in Busch Grand National, whether there's Winston Cup drivers or not, it's a great thrill. And we're really excited. We've got a good program right now. Everything's going our way as far as qualifying goes. And I feel really good today. I think we've got a good shot at running up front all day and hopefully come across with our first win.
Okay, now way back in the pack, or a little further back in the pack, is my colleague Mark Garrow with one of those Winston Cup drivers.
Testimony to just how strong the Grand National Series is. We have to go no further back than 10th starting position in Darrell Waltrip. He hasn't won a Grand National Series race since 1989, 24 starts. Things are compounded these days, Darrell, by just how strong the Grand National Series guys are running.
Yeah, there's a lot more parity. You know, we hear that word a lot in other sports, but there's a lot more parity here now than there used to be. These guys have gotten familiar with the racetracks themselves. The engines, everybody gets engines from pretty much the same vendors, so horsepower is not any big advantage. The cars, everybody's kind of got their car figured out these days. Aerodynamically, they learn from what we do in Winston Cup now. So it really comes down to crews and drivers, and Ward Burton is a good example of what kind of drivers we're looking at in this division right now. Ward can step up at Charlotte last fall and almost win, and then he won at Rockingham and showed to be a real classy little driver. Where did he come from? I mean, he just kind of came up from nowhere, and there's others in this division that do the same thing. It's not a piece of cake anymore. I struggle in this division where I used to dominate.
As a car owner, Darrell Waltrip is about to give his driver a pep talk, who's 0 for 24 since 1989. Let's go back upstairs to Mike Joy.
There is much more to this story of parity, as we'll see in just a moment. TNN's exclusive live coverage of the Hardee's 200 is being brought to you by Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car. And by Miller Genuine Draft, cold filtered for real draft taste, so get out of the old, get into the cold. Our coverage from Richmond continues right after these messages. Coverage of the Hardee's 200. Neil, having equipment parity and sponsorship parity is one thing, but driver parity, that's another. The Winston Cup drivers in the past have been more comfortable hooking up with one another and kind of leaving the Busch guys out in the cold. They can't do that anymore.
They don't have that luxury. In the past, the Winston Cup guys could gang up and just pull away. Nowadays, the Busch guys are so strong, the only thing they can do is race with them. and sometimes they don't like to do that. They don't have that choice. The guys are showing them their way around the racetrack. Good equipment counts a lot, but I think the biggest thing they got for them now is in frame of mind. They know they can win. They did just that last week. Let's look at the Haviland update.
Last week, the Busch Grand National Series held its second race of the season at Rockingham, North Carolina, and the Nashville Network was there to bring you all the action, including these pictures from Mark Martin's car. Turn 2 was Crisis Corner. This was but one of the wrecks that contributed to a record 13 caution flags. But the real story became the Burton brothers from South Boston, Virginia. Jeff Burton was leading when he came in for this routine pit stop. A wheel stud broke on the right front and became lodged in the brake caliper. Burton had to return to the pits for lengthy repairs, and then, as the field came past 4 wide after the restart, Burton was black flagged for jumping the restart and fell from contention. The Winston Cup drivers went to the front until Jeff's older brother Ward Burton in 27 passed Davey Allison to take the lead. Mark Martin would close the gap between second and first in the final few laps, but it was Virginia's own Ward Burton who wins his first Busch Grand National race ever and takes the point lead from Dale Earnhardt. So coming to Richmond, Burton owns a 5-point lead on Earnhardt. Mark Martin 24 points more behind in third than Davey Allison and Steve Grissom in the 5th spot.
The likable Virginia gentleman sitting atop the Busch standings right now still has a smile a Rockingham mile wide. Ward, have you come down to earth after so soundly beating those Winston Cup guys last week?
Well, yes, sir, we have, but, you know, it was a very exciting moment, and my team and my sponsor and everybody, to be everybody right there together, it was something else, and we're still awful excited, but we got to go to battle today and hopefully be consistent and come out with top 10, top 5 finish.
Well, you've already shown that your super speedway program is well in order. What about your short track program? You got it in gear?
Well, I really felt like we needed to do a lot of improvement, but Rick Rim, my crew chief, got this car handling some kind of good for me today, so we're hoping to stay out of trouble and have another good finish. The car is the best car I've had down here. The qualifying results don't really show it, but the car is handling some kind of good.
Okay, now somewhere way back in the pack is Mark Garrow with the guy that won both Busch races here last year.
You almost need a set of binoculars to see the front row from way back here. Harry Gant, you start 28th. You're unruffled by that because you started 29th in the fall and came on to win the race. But compounding and making things a little bit tougher these days is the Grand National Series regulars make it a little more difficult to storm up to the front.
Yeah, you have to, you know, a track of this size, you got to play the game cautious, so hope you don't get involved in any accidents, and we hope we can have a good finish for the day's end.
Harry, you didn't qualify for Daytona. Is it get even time here at Richmond?
No, we didn't make it at Daytona. Last year at Daytona, though, we were like 40th, you know, we barely got in, so our car just don't qualify very fast, and it's a little tough to win races, but maybe we can win 5 again this year.
Harry Gant wins a Grand National Series race every 4 times he takes a start on the Grand National Series. We'll have more live from the Richmond International Raceway right here on TNN when we come right back.
Raceway, but all morning this place has just been pelted by rain, and you see the trucks out still dragging a few tires. The racetrack is pretty dry. The low groove down the front straightaway and into turn 1 still needs a touch more work, and there's a place high up in turns 3 and 4 where there's a good bit of seepage up into the racetrack. They do have a jet-powered dryer that the Texas Pete folks brought in here from Rockingham to help dry the track, and you see them dragging tires, and the cars are set on pit lane, which is still just a bit damp. So we are going to go racing here at Richmond. It's going to be just a few minutes, but that'll give us a chance to talk to some more drivers who compete in the event today. First, let's go to Glenn Jarrett.
Well, the guy standing next to me certainly is no stranger to victory lane in the Winston Cup Series. However, he's 0 for 74 in the Busch Series. What's going on?
We just haven't been able to hit it, Glenn. We've been real close a couple of times and had something happen late in the race to prevent us from it. And, you know, we've got a couple of second-place finishes, a couple of third-place finishes, but no wins. We're going to try to break that today.
Well, speaking of today, younger brother Clifford has out-qualified older brother Davey. How do you feel about that?
Don't pick on me about my younger brother. I'll tell everybody where your younger brother is.
I guess enough said there. Let's go back up pit road to Mark Garrow.
We're standing by with Jeff Burton, who had a heartbreaker last week at Rockingham. You led a lot of the race. It looked like you were going to be there for the finish, and then some tough luck on pit road took you out of contention.
Well, that's right. You know, we got the TIC financial systems also. We'll run it real well all year, and it's going to do the same thing today.
This race takes on a special meaning for your team, I know.
It really does. You know, we got a crew chief, a team manager, Kip McCord. His father died this week, and we really miss Kip, and we want to tell Kip that we're all thinking of him, and it's not the same without him here.
Let's go back up pit road to Glenn Jarrett.
Well, thanks, Mark. Another one of these Busch Grand National regulars that is certainly tagged for stardom is Robert Presley. He had an extremely strong run at Daytona, Robert. Made up almost 3 laps last week at Rockingham, but had a little, let's say, indiscretion with NASCAR there. He got penalized a lap, but you got to feel real good about this team the way you're running right now.
Yeah, it's real good. You know, last week got us down a little bit, but, you know, it's nice to come back 3 laps. It's been a while since anybody's done that, but come here to Richmond, run second last year. We're looking forward to this race. You know, I just hope the rain will hold off and we can beat Harry and a couple of them other Winston Cup guys.
Well, short track racing has always been your forte. That's where you started, but you've been extremely strong on super speedways. Do you feel like that the short track program has suffered, or are you just raring to go to get back on short tracks?
I'm ready for the short tracks. You know, they're a lot tougher than super speedway, but whenever we started this Busch deal, you know, we figured we could win a couple of short track races and never concentrate on the super speedway. I enjoy the speedways a whole lot, but after we got us a new speedway car, you know, speedway is a lot easier than any short track I ever been to.
Keep your eyes on number 59 today, folks. He'll be a contender. Mike Joy?
Neil, I believe he's a comer. Robert Presley we're speaking of, who has run so well here of late in the Busch Grand National Series. There's his car, number 59. We take you for a look down the grid. Steve Grissom's machine just popped through here at Richmond, Virginia, through what has been a heavy cloud cover. We're about to introduce drivers and get the Hardee 200 underway. Temperature's gone up about 8 degrees in the past hour, but look at that humidity. We get a few drops here at any second. Chance of thunder showers later this afternoon. If you've not been to Richmond since they built this new 3/4-mile super speedway, you're in for a treat. It's a very unique racetrack, Neil.
Mike, when they increased the size of this racetrack, they put a big dogleg on the front straightaway, a D-oval just like the big speedways. Down the front straightaway, real easy entry into turn 1. Big, wide entry into that corner. You can just sail the cars off down in there. But you see in this shot, it's real tight. In the middle of the corner, coming off 2, the straightaway really cuts back. Right there, coming off 2, is a problem spot on this racetrack. If we ever have a problem, it's right there by that grandstand area. Straight back straightaway, good straight shot down in 3. Easy entry, exit off to 3 and 4. The tough part is right there. That's where the action happens.
You know, the way you talk about this racetrack, it sounds like you're describing Rockingham, where we were last week.
Mike, last week everybody tried to knock turn 2 down. Hopefully it won't happen this time.
Well, you can see the umbrellas and the ponchos have been put away, and we're getting close to going racing. Let's check back in down on pit road.
Kenny Wallace will start a car today called Downtown Bobby Brown. Won 2 races last year, Volusia County and at Loudon. This car sort of went through a custody battle. It was owned by 3 different people in one day last Tuesday.
Well, it sure was. You know, this is one of my favorite race cars, and I guess about a month ago we were prevented, you know, from purchasing this car, and Dale Earnhardt ended up buying all the stuff that I ran last year. And Tuesday, I guess about 2 o'clock, the courts cleared it. Dale Earnhardt bought it, and within 2 minutes we bought it back from him. So I'm pretty happy to get this old Dirt Devil Pontiac back because it's a good race car, and like you said, it took us 2 good victories last year.
Kenny, good luck this afternoon.
Thank you very much.
Let's go back down pit road to Glenn Jarrett.
Well, there's probably nobody any happier to get back to some short track wars than this guy, Chuck Bound. He's former series champion. Started off this season with 2 horrendous crashes, one at Daytona, one at Rockingham, 2 killed race cars. You're probably glad to be back here.
Well, I'm just glad to have the last 2 races behind us. This is number 3, and we're here at Richmond. We're going to be trying to win it and see what we can do. It's going to be interesting. We've got an all Nestle front row. The only problem is the Nescafe Nestea car is not on the pole.
Well, you've been one of the fastest cars here. You were from the time you guys unloaded, so you got to feel pretty good about your chances. You like this racetrack anyway.
I like it a lot. It hasn't been our luckiest track, but it's our kind of racetrack. We should run good here, but we'll have to wait and see. But we're excited about it.
You handle those Winston Cup guys today?
Oh, yeah. Not a problem.
Okay, Mike Joy, that guy says he can do it.
Well, that's the new confidence in this series, and it's not just because of Ward Burton's win last week. It's because all of these drivers are running well up near the front. 9 Busch regulars in the top 10 in qualifying, and all the way back through this field, the Cup guys are going to have their work cut out for them today. What do you think, Neil? Do you call this a short track or a super speedway? It's kind of like right smack in the middle.
Mike, it's a combination. You got to have a lot of motor to run here, but you park the thing down in the corner like on a short track. You pull it down in here, you got to handle through the middle of the corner, especially like we talked about. I don't overemphasize turn 2, but it's so tricky. If you're not handling there, you're going to flirt with that wall every lap.
Well, they're now rolling the cars up into position on the starting grid. Pit road has been pretty well dried, and so is the lower groove of the front straightaway. So they have dispensed with driver introductions, the honorary starters on the flag stand, and we're just moments away from getting going here at Richmond. Ward Burton tops the point standings in this division, and that's the first time that a Busch Grand National regular in several years has led the points after the first 2 races. Usually the Cuppers dominate, and then of course the 2 series split. You don't see the drivers running together much anymore until you get to Darlington down in April of the year. By the way, we'll pass on the city of South Boston, Virginia. We'll honor Ward. It'll be Ward Burton Day in his hometown, March 18th. They've rented out the National Guard Armory for a big celebration there at 5 p.m. They did the same thing for his brother Jeff when he won his first Busch race last season. So that'll be kind of fun. We'll start a trackside trivia early today. Ward and Jeff Burton become the 4th brother combination to win on the Busch Grand National Series since Busch picked up sponsorship of that series in 1982. See how many of the other 3 brother pairs you can name for us. We'll hint you that one is a trio, which should kind of narrow the odds down just a bit. There's Ricky Craven's car being pushed into position as we get ready to roll here.
Mike, there's one thing we need to look for at the first of this race. We had really downpours up to 30 minutes ago, and boy, it broke up when sun's out now. The Busch guys and the Winston Cup guys both don't have a lot of experience. They're equal on this racetrack, but since it's been rebuilt and redone, everybody had to come with a new book here. What do you do on a situation like this? No, very little bit of practice. Rain washes out, then sun pops out. I'm telling you, talking about a guessing game. These crew chiefs are really trying to decide what to do with these race cars before they roll them out.
Well, they've cast the die now as the cars are through inspection and rolling up onto the start line. The brother acts that have won in Busch Grand National competition, Ward and Jeff Burton, the most recent, of course. Jeff, Brett, and Todd Bodine. Terry and Bobby Labonte. Darrell and Michael Walker. The brother acts.
Family affair, isn't it?
Well, you should know. It's all those, the suitcases that go back to Hueytown full of money every week for the Winston Cup and the Busch Series circuit.
Davy's hauling most of it back now.
Yes, he is. But as you heard him say, he's been kind of shut out here in the Busch Grand National Series. Somebody told me yesterday he owns the 4th longest losing streak in Busch racing, with 75 races without a victory. This week the place turned that around. There's Dave Resendiz climbing in the Swanson car. He should start this off for too long.
He didn't climb in there any too soon. They just said, gentlemen, start your engines. I think with the weather, a lot of these drivers were sitting around in motorhomes. It's time to go to work now.
Let's go to Martin.
I'm down here with Rick Mast. In the 5 races that they've run for the Grand National Series since this track went up to a 3/4 mile, Rick Mast is only one of 2 Grand National regulars to win on this track back when he was a Busch regular. Rick, what about it today?
Well, Mark, we're going to try something a little different today. I probably should go with the setup that I used 2 years ago to win, but I tried a little different setup, and the car worked just perfect in practice. I don't know how it's going to do in the race. It might go away. If it goes away, then so be it. But if it don't go away, it's going to be good. But the best part is going to work tomorrow. I'm going to use it in Sunday's race if it works. That's kind of what I'm doing here. I'm kind of a test prototype deal today for tomorrow's race. So if it works, I'll be good. If it don't, I'll be history.
When you look at Rick Mast's face, he's smiling. He thinks it's going to work. Let's go back upstairs to Mike Joy.
Well, there's another indication of how tough this series has become. The strategy that won 2 years ago isn't any good anymore. You got to try something different. Let's have a look at the starting grid for today's Hardee's 200. On the pole at 120.4 miles per hour, the Baby Ruth Ford of Jeff Gordon of Indiana. On the outside pole, Chuck Bound from Oregon with an Escapade Pontiac. In row number 2, Bobby Labonte, the series champion in the Slim Jim Chevy, and Joe Nemechek out of Lakeland, Florida, the Texas Pete Chevrolet. In row number 3, Jimmy Spencer, the Molly Black Gold Olds, and Kenny Wallace in the Dirt Devil Pontiac. Jeff Burton squares off 7th at TIC Financial Olds, and right alongside is Coopersville, Michigan's Butch Miller, the Food Country Olds. Jimmy Hensley has the Don Beverly Oldsmobile 9th, and Darrell Waltrip carries the Western Auto colors on his Chevrolet in 10th. 11th is the Gwaltney's Buick, last week's winner and the point leader, Ward Burton. Next door, Mike Wallace from St. Louis, the Daly's First Aid Olds. That's the Moroso car. Going 13th will be Robert Presley out of Asheville, North Carolina, the Alliance Trucking Olds. And Rick Mast is there with his Skoal Classic Olds in 14th. 15th will be Steve Grissom from Alabama, going 16th. Michigan's Jack Sprague. 17th from Hueytown, Clifford Allison, and Big Brother's right next door, there's Davey. Jamie Obey from the Busch North Series from Vermont has his Buick 19th, and Tommy Houston from Hickory, North Carolina is 20th. 21st, Oregon's Jim Bound in a Buick. 22nd, Massachusetts driver Dave Resendez in an Olds. 23rd is Mike Waltrip's Pontiac, and 24th from Chicago, Bobby Dotter's Oldsmobile. 25th, Busch North champ Ricky Craven from Maine in a Chevrolet. He'll start next to Joe Bessie from Maine in a Pontiac. Pennsylvania's Tom Peck in an Oldsmobile is 27th, and 28th, there's Harry Gant's Buick. 29th, Tracy Leslie from Michigan in an Olds, and 30th is Arkansas's Richard Lassiter in a Buick. 31st qualifier was Connecticut's Jeff Berry in an Olds, and 32nd, there's tough Tommy Ellis from Richmond in a Chevrolet. Added to the lineup, the provisional starters, Todd Bodine in a Chevy, Tony Hirschman's Olds, Troy Beebe in the Thaxton Ford, and Glenn Sullivan's Chevrolet. First of, 3 pace laps as they come around. Get set to go at it here. They're going down pit road at the NASCAR mandated speed limit. And we'll be back to bring you the start of the Hardee's 200 at Richmond International Raceway right after these messages. He'll be starting this race from right about 6th spot outside the third row. He's ready to go. There's a look at the dark, ominous clouds out behind. Wallace carrying our onboard camera today. This Dirt Devil car, that's a Chevrolet. That is a Chevrolet. Well, we'll see if the pace car will turn them loose one more this time. Looks like one more lap before we go racing. At least they try to get just a little heat into this surface before they start out today.
Mike, you know, they've used every bit of equipment here, the jet dryer and everything. They've had it pretty good, but there's one thing that really drives the racetrack out, and that's that big group of cars out there with the exhaust system laying right on the ground, and it won't take them maybe a lap or 2 extra to get the track ready to race.
There's Wallace, Tony Nemechek just ahead. See on the left side of the screen, there's Bobby Labonte's car lined up in the 3rd spot. Glenn?
Mike, Ward Burton's crew taking no chances at all today. Earlier today, Ward's 5-year-old daughter, Sarah, found a 4-leaf clover on her way to the restroom. Ward has that in his pocket with him in the race car. Also, the pit crew chose pit number 27, which is the pit that they were in last week when they won at Rockingham, and obviously that is his car number, so they're doing everything they can to get the odds in their favor today.
Kenny Wallace's car, that isn't mine. We'll sort this out here in a second.
Mike, that's one of the cars like you were talking about from last season. When that team had a little bit of problem, they bought that car back this week.
And they're ready to go run with it. $154,000 potentially up for grabs today with this 36-car field. 3/4 mile racetrack, so the race will go 150 miles. Harry Gant set the record 1 year ago. One lap and we'll go racing. Tommy Houston won the first Busch Grand National race here in 1982, the first year of the series, and actually the second race run under Busch title sponsorship. They had 3 Busch races here that year. Butch Lindley won the other 2. Sam Art and Morgan Shepherd went victory lane in 83. Then Sam Art and Tommy Ellis. Ellis again in 85. Earnhardt in 86. Mark Martin in 87. Harry Gant in 88. And both the 91 races, Bobby Hamilton, Mike Waltrip, and Rick Mast are the other winners here. Look down the back straightaway. That tough exit from turn 2 that Bill spoke of. And there is pace speed for the final time. We're going racing this lap. Jeff Gordon, 20 years old from Pittsboro, Indiana, on the pole for the 2nd week in a row. Bill Davis, the car owner. Ray Evernham helping turn the wrenches down there. Came over from Alan Kowicki's team at Daytona. And we're under green. And we'll see if Gordon, the fastest car in practice here at Richmond, is able to open up any kind of lead. And Chuck Bound is right with him on the brake. Bound down the back straightaway. It's a little better jump from the outside of turn number 2 to take Nemechek with him.
Mike, early in the race, like at the lower part of the racetrack, is the wettest part of the racetrack. Chuck really got a good bite on the outside and jumped him on the start.
Chuck Bound leads the first lap. Jeff Gordon is coming in the 2nd, and now Nemechek is hung up high as Bobby Labonte battles in the 3rd. Good start for Labonte. He'll take that third spot. Chuck Bound up front, former series champion. Has had 2 devastating crashes in the 2 recent seasons this year.
Mike, if anybody needs to run good today, they've totally lost 2 race cars. He needs a good run today.
I'm told that Jeff Hensley bought one of those cars that came up at auction as well to add to the stable for Chuck Bound. Got a very expensive scrap heap there in Richmond, Virginia. Ridgeway, Virginia, just outside Martinsville Speedway. Bound up front, the Ford of Jeff Gordon in second. There's Bobby Labonte right there. Slim Jim car in third. Nemechek settles into the 4th spot.
When you say settle, Mike, I'm not so sure. You won't see these guys just a little bit more cautious than they normally would be at the first of a race. Just going to have to feel things to see how good you are before they really turn the cars loose.
Jimmy Spencer sits behind them in 5th. Challenge for 2nd spot. Bobby Labonte's wasting no time. Chuck Bound lapping this track at 116.4 miles per hour. But Labonte, who qualified 3rd, was 5th on the break, got under and past Nemechek, and now he's gone by Gordon, and he's right hot on the trail of the leader.
You know, last week Jeff Gordon sat on the pole, and they faded real bad. It looked like the car got a little bit loose on him. Looks like this week they might have went with another, trying the car a little bit tighter. He might give up a little bit early, but he could be stronger late in the race.
Could move a little further back. Here's Darrell Waltrip battling Butch Miller on the outside. Charlie Henderson Food Country car. And that's the Don Beverly car with Jimmy Hensley, 25.
The car of Waltrip's has a Chevrolet V6 motor in it. Most of the GM products run the Buick engine. He has a Ron Hutter motor in it, and those things are really strong. He's still got, they're working to trying to get their Busch program where he wants it to be.
So Waltrip moves up a notch. That'll put him to 8th. He started this race 10th. Hensley back in 11th spot. He took the green flag 9th.
Which is an accomplishment, taking the green flag. He's had trouble, and he got hurt at Daytona, and he's starting to come around now.
Two good battles back behind them as we're up with the leaders now. Chuck Bound leading Bobby Labonte now by just a car length.
Looks like Labonte is able to close in a little bit right up off the corner. He made that move around Jeff Gordon, and now he's able to put enough pressure on Chuck Bound. Coming off 4, right up here in this next corner, looks like he's able to get the nose up under him a little bit. Coming up off the corner seems to be a strong part.
See if Bound gives him the low side. Meanwhile, Jimmy Hensley has gone past Darrell Waltrip. That's the 8th place, and Ward Burton. Here's Burton, who has come up to 10th. Last week's winner at Rockingham. And the point standing leader, 10th place.
I'm not sure this young man, if he win again today, if he can stand the pressure. He was all but tears last week, and he should have went ahead and shed a few. He earned them.
Nothing more fun to watch than somebody's first win.
That's right.
His younger brother Jeff runs 7th at the moment. You're watching the front 4. They've opened up about a second and a half on the field, this pack of 4 cars. And Jeff Gordon's coming back up to the back bumper of Bobby Labonte.
Speaking of Labonte, here he goes to the inside.
And Bound has to give him a little room. Not too much. Labonte got a good run up off turn 2, but it'll just bring him ever closer.
A deal like that right there, Mike, you might not be able to really pass the guy, but you always look to the inside, try to get out of his mirror, and he wonders where you're at. If you could just make him think you're coming to the inside, he might give you that little bit of extra room, and he's just playing some games right now, trying to get the inside away from him.
Chuck Bound, Bobby Labonte, Jeff Gordon, and Joe Nemechek. That's the front 4.
You mentioned Nemechek. He's really, either the lead car is slowing him down a little bit, or Nemechek's really coming in on him because it's starting to stack up the first 4 positions now.
Back behind them, Jimmy Spencer is 5th, Kenny Wallace is 6th, Jeff Burton is 7th. Jimmy Hensley's back in the 8th spot. And the Allisons, Clifford is 16th and Davies 20th.
Looks like Labonte kind of sticks the nose to the outside every now. He's tried inside, sticks it outside. Here he goes with an inside move on him. Now this part of the track to the inside might work for him because he's really been strong through 3 and 4. He's up under him now. He's got a shot at him. But he closed the door right off the corner.
Had a shot, couldn't do anything with it. So Chuck Bound leads Bobby Labonte. There's the rest of the top 10 behind this pack of leaders. We'll be back after these messages and a word from Bobby Labonte. Bobby, how many races are you going to win this year?
I'm going to win 3. Because last year I won 2, and I want to win 1 more than I did last year. And I think that'd be feasible.
TNN's exclusive live coverage of the Hardee 200 is being brought to you by Napa, because there are no unimportant parts. We're under the first caution of the day. The 15th place car, Mike Wallace, has taken a big chunk out of the concrete in turns 1 and 2. You see the damage to the left rear of that car.
Mike, it looked like he lost the car getting down in the corner. See if we can pick him up here, getting down in the corner. He's already got it turned around. Now, it looked like they might have got together. Here he goes backing it up in the wall. Took a pretty good shot into the wall. No oncoming traffic coming here. Luckily, he backed down across the track, but most of them got around him. He was fortunate to get hit backing down in the lane.
The car just behind him, the red car, Clifford Allison, comes into the picture late. Looks like Mike just came in, either locked it up or something happened to the car. Just lost it and came right around.
Well, I tell you, when you were asking me earlier, is this a short track or a speedway? When they hit like that, they feel like a speedway.
I'll bet. Mark?
We're down in the Busch Miller pits, and he is waving frantically at his crew. He's trying to wave them off and trying to tell them not to change the right sides, but they're going to the right side of the race car. Now they're looking underneath the hood. He started 8th. He fell back to around 22nd or 23rd, having some sort of problem. Now they shut the engine off, and Busch Miller, obviously disgusted the way things are going, now fires it back up and heads back out onto the racetrack.
Mike Wallace having difficulties as well. There is Miller going back up. Bobby Daughter made a pit stop. And here's the work on the Mike Wallace car. Glenn?
Well, there's pretty serious damage to the rear of the car. The preliminary indication is that there was some oil or maybe rear end grease leaking from Busch Miller's car onto the racetrack, and that Wallace may have gotten in that. There is oil leaking from the rear of the car. It looks like it's coming from the rear end here. That rear end took a pretty hard lick there, so he's going to have some major problems. I'm not too sure. Well, now I can see that oil is coming from the rear end cooler, so he's definitely got a grease leak here. He's going to be here a while.
Jack Sprague's crew doing a little cleanup there.
Mike, I tell you what, even if they get it fixed, the fuel filler's right there on that side of the car. They couldn't even add fuel to the car. He couldn't even finish a race. There's no way to put fuel in the car, so you know they might be trying to repair something, but that thing's about history for the day.
Tough break for the middle brother.
There's the fuel man. He's worried about the part out. He said, I got to put gas in this thing. Let me figure a place where I can put it.
Middle Wallace brother. Rusty's the oldest, Kenny's the youngest. Mike in the middle. Tough short day for Pete Morozo's crew. The Robert Presley crew coming over to help out. Looks like we'll have another lap.
Mike, if that car busted the oil cooler coming around, he probably put a string all the way around the racetrack, and it looks like they're putting a little oil dry down, try to get it cleaned back up.
Chuck Bound is the leader after 24 of 200 laps. Bobby Labonte runs in 2nd. Jeff Gordon, the pole sitter, in 3rd. Joe Nemechek is 4th. 5th is Kenny Wallace. 6th, Jimmy Spencer. 7th would be Jeff Burton. In the 8th spot, Jimmy Hensley. And Darrell Waltrip going in 9th. Ward Burton would be the 10th place car. While we're under caution, we'll take this break from Richmond International Raceway. Be right back. CNN's coverage of the Hardee's 200 is being brought to you by Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car. We'll go green in 1 lap. And Robert Presley was just on pit road for an extended stay. Glenn Jarrett's down there.
Well, Rick Pearson is the crew chief on Robert Presley's car. That's a little unusual. These guys came in, changed the right rear spring. What's going on?
Well, the thing was a little bit loose to start with. The sun kind of fooled everybody, and, you know, we didn't get any practice this morning, so we just tied him up some.
Well, if Rick sounds a little bit out of breath, it's because he had to jack all the wedge back into that car. How many rounds was that?
About 40.
About 40 rounds. He's already had his work out here today.
That car will go back on the racetrack in 34th place. They continue to work on Mike Wallace on pit road. We're about set to go back to green. Nope, one more lap.
40 rounds, Mike. That's when you need the air wrench on the jack instead of a ratchet wrench.
There's Presley, tail end Charlie on this field. He and Butch Miller making extended pit stops, but still on the same lap.
Last week, tail end Charlie didn't bother him a bit. He made up 3 laps at Rockingham. When they get that car right, he can fly.
Mike Wallace on pit road, now 4 laps back. And Glenn Sullivan, the Westbury, New York driver, who bought a car from Davey Allison and didn't even have time to paint it. That big red star is still on the nose of the car. He gets that back to go back to green. That'll be number 84. You're watching from Kenny Wallace's car. Look at Kenny. Prepares to go back to work.
Mike, just before the caution came out, Kenny Wallace was probably the fastest guy on the racetrack. He was really closing in on the leaders, and he just said they just got this car back. He's waving it off. You can see inside the car, he's waving to tell them they changed their mind. They're going to go one more lap of caution. They won't come green this time. But a driver will get a favorite car, and he ran that car in a stable last year, and he kept telling Felix Zapata's, man, if we can get that car, I can run. And it might be frame of mind as we talked earlier, but he's got that car, and he's running good.
How much of that's the car, and how much of it is just how much you think the car is?
Well, I think it's a lot to do with the fact that you think that car performed well on a certain day, and it might have a little bit different feel. These cars are built exactly the same jigs. Every now and then you'll just find one that has a good feel and he likes that particular car.
Downtown Bobby Brown, they call it.
Sometimes when they have that feel for you, you don't mind driving her off in there about 2 car lengths deeper or really accelerating a little bit harder. And you might could do it in another car, but he just likes that one.
So we'll go racing this time. Behind the Pontiac safety car, Chuck Bound, the leader. Bobby Labonte in second, Jeff Gordon, Joe Nemechek, Kenny Wallace is 5th. Carrying our onboard camera this afternoon, Jimmy Spencer is 6th, Jeff Burton is 8th, Jimmy Hensley 9th, Darrell Waltrip 10th, right where he started. 11th is Ward Burton. We'll look a little further back in the field. That's Rick Mass back in the 12th spot. Jack Sprague, Steve Grissom, Michael Waltrip, Clifford Allison, Jim Bound, Davey Allison, and Tommy Houston. That is Jamie Obey and Dave Resendiz. Then Harry Gant. Green flag. Comes out of lap 29.
Mike, they're going to have to be careful coming off turn 2. Looks like they put a dump truck load of oil dry and it's still over there. They'll have to watch it up off turn 2.
Here's the tricky part of this racetrack. See the dust fly. They come down that back straightaway without incident. So when they blow that off the one groove, won't it leave a lot of that at the top and the bottom of the racetrack?
It moves it around, and it also fills the radiators up, which doesn't help a bit.
Chuck Bound holding the point. The Hubert Hensley team looking for any kind of a success, even a finish would be welcome after the start to the season they've had. Badly tore up 2 race cars. You can't crumple a coffee can as bad as he crushed that car in Rockingham. Single file all the way back through the field.
Mike, it seemed like it took about 5 laps earlier before they started sorting out some of the guys able to try inside or outside. You have to let the tires equalize and warm up, and maybe somebody can make a move on them.
Take a look at the ninth place battle. Darrell Waltrip, Ward Burton right with him, and Rick Mass. That'll be for 9th place. There's Tommy Ellis in number 14. New number for him and a new sponsor, Bullets. It's a new fast food restaurant here in Richmond that they hope to expand to a national chain. Bang, you're fed. And right with him, Ricky Craven, the Busch North champ, and Joe Bessie, the 2 main drivers ganging up on Ellis.
Won a lot. Here's a car looks like having trouble.
Jack Sprague got way up out of the groove, and about 4 cars went by him. Now now he drops it down in front of Jim Bound. Mike Wallace is back on track, but moving slowly down the back straightaway. There's Sprague. Started up on the front row in that race with Charlotte. Trailing Clifford Allison there, number 9. 15th place for Sprague, and we're back up with the leader. Chuck Bound in 63, Bobby Labonte 44, and Jeff Gordon in the Ford, number 1. And that's a bit different from what we've seen in past years, Neil. The Ford has taken a while to get their V6 program up to speed, but here this weekend as at Rockingham in practice and qualifying was the quickest thing on the racetrack.
Like, they've been on the pole twice, but they could possibly have all the poles since Daytona, because in Hickory they had motor problems, and they put a new engine in just before qualifying. It was a Daytona motor. They forgot to take the restrictor plate off of it. They actually qualified with a restrictor plate on the short track, and then once they took it off in practice, he was way quicker than anyone else. They've got a lot of strength with that little V6 Ford back there.
Qualified with a plate on and made the field.
Yeah.
That's a strong team. It was when Mark Martin drove for them, and it is with Jeff Gordon.
Okay, that young man Mike has really got a lot of talent. He's driven every type of race car. Here we're talking about somebody who's 20 years old with all kind of talent. Here we go for the lead. Kind of nudging around there a little bit. Get in there, bumping the horn, blowing the horn just a little bit up off the corner.
And here comes Gordon. Outside, inside. Number 1 car. Neil, he's got a lot of talent, young Jeff Gordon in car 1. Let's move back a little bit, 7th place. And this will be Jeff Gordon versus Jimmy Hensley. Hensley trying to move up 1 notch and take Rick Mast with him.
That inside line usually assures you of a pass later in the race like this, but the outside guys are not giving anything up. They're making it work when you get on the inside of them.
This is 7th place. They have passed Darrell Waltrip, who dropped back to 10th and into the clutches of Ward Burton. Jimmy Hensley out of Ridgeway, Virginia. Delivers fuel oil during the week. And he's very fortunate to have a boss that allows him to go and pursue his racing career without it interfering too badly with his big-time job. That's kind of the hallmark of this Busch Grand National Series. There are a lot of part-time racers here, fellas that hold down a 5-day-a-week job and then come to the races on weekends. Not an easy thing to do, to try to juggle 2 careers. You did for a while.
Yeah, we just work all day long, work on cars all night, and race on the weekends. And I think that's what's so good to see about these guys, have the ability now to get out and get the sponsorship and have first-class racing equipment, because there's still really the weekend racer involved, and that's been the backbone of our sport for years and years.
Of course, every one of those drivers hopes someday to advance either to this circuit in a full-time ride or to Winston Cup racing in the same thing. Front of the pack. What impresses me about Jeff Gordon is not so much the talent he has, which is impressive, but the experience. He started winning. Well, he's in a sprint car at 14 years old and started winning races.
He started running go-karts when he was 4 years old. He's raced his entire life, and he just got a lot of miles on him, a lot of real good racing savvy. And when you put him in one of these good race cars like this, it really shows up. He's got the backing of Ford Motor Company. He's really their young man of the future. And anything he wants to do, they jump on board with him. So he's got a bright future ahead of him.
He's running 3rd right now, behind Chuck Bound and Bobby Labonte.
Mike, while we're talking about Jeff Gordon, he's been offered Winston Cup rides before, and there's rumblings right now that he's getting offered another ride right now, but he wants to run the Busch Series and get some experience.
I think he'll move up now. Speaking of moving up, though, here's Harry Gant in the Mack Tools car. That's a Buick. Started 28th, and he's moved up to 16th position, going against Clifford Allison for 15th, and he'll take the spot.
Just clicking along. Old Harry, just like old time clicks along. Harry just clicks his way to the front when they start these things.
And Darrell Waltrip coming back after Jeff Burton. Darrell on the inside makes the move, and Ward Burton is coming up into the picture to battle younger brother. There he is in the Gwaltney's car, and going to drag Steve Grissom up with him. Good battle here, and this would be for 9th place. Back at the lead. Bobby Labonte keeps trying. Chuck Bound. This time looks like he's got some room.
Mike, that's the best shot he's had it. He's completely beside him there. They should be able to run a dead heat up off of this corner. If there's dead heat, even going down the back straightaway, that inside line should have a big advantage coming off turn 4.
There's a lapped car ahead, Butch Miller, or about to be lapped car. See if Labonte can clear Miller. He takes him way up high. And there's the mark of a gentleman and a racer. Butch Miller, who's won as many races as anybody here, dropped way down out of the groove, down to the apron, so he wouldn't get in the way of this battle for the lead.
Here comes Jeff Gordon trying to get on the inside also. Once Labonte made the pass, he had Bound on the outside. Jeff Gordon's trying to take advantage of that.
Is this where Chuck starts saying, what am I doing way up here?
Yeah, you kind of get out there and you say, man, I'm willing to give up one position, but hey, every time I start looking, there's some more coming the inside. Once you get out there, it kind of opens the door, and it's hard to get it shut back. Now he's going to slam it.
Slams it in the face of Joe Nemechek. Jeff Gordon moves up, now into second place in the Ford. Chuck Bound now drops to third in the Pontiac. Coming on, Jimmy Spencer and Kenny Wallace are coming right up into the thick of the lead battle. The white car Nemechek, there's Spencer, that red yellow numerals car, and then Kenny Wallace in white and red. They lap past the Banana Boat Ford. That's the Troy Beebe car.
We got Spencer all over Chuck Bound. He's giving a shove up off the corner. He drove under him going down in the corner.
Flew past it. That's Spencer now up to third. Butch Miller's on pit road once again. As we've completed 51 laps, we're a quarter distance. And only one caution flag, the one brought out by Mike Wallace. That was back at lap 22.
We're sitting here watching Gordon right behind Labonte. Last week, Gordon was on the pole and led a lot of the race, then he just fell completely off. He's actually making a lot better run. He hasn't led a lap yet, but he's right there in contention. He's got the car a lot better this week than it was at Richmond. Excuse me, Rockingham.
His patience is pretty impressive, too. You know, for the pole, he just didn't just jump right out, run everybody hard into turn 1 and have to come up with a lead.
If you drive the cars he's been driving, those open wheel cars, you learn patience or you stay on your roof all the time.
Harry Gant moving up now, reported as well, up into just cracking the top 10. Only one driver out of the race. Mark Garrow's with him.
One look at the base of Mike Wallace will tell you the whole story. Mike, what happened up there when you crashed?
Well, we're just planning on having a good run today, trying to stay out of trouble. I think that's the 9 car, the Allison car, decided he wanted to race harder than we did. And he caught me in the left rear pretty hard, getting into 1 and spun us around. Backed it in the wall when it did, knocked the rear end cooler net off the car. And presume right now it burned up a rear end gear at the moment. But real frustrating. Our first aid Pontiac, Oldsmobile was running good. We were just trying to get out of here with a finish without wrecking today. And luck's not on our side for some reason.
Tough break for Mike Wallace. He's on the sidelines as these two drivers battle for the front spot. Bobby Labonte, the reigning Busch Series champion. Jeff Gordon, Rookie of the Year, now into his sophomore season. Running in the second spot. Jimmy Spencer is third. Chuck Bound is fourth. Kenny Wallace is fifth. Back in sixth, Joe Nemechek, and seventh, Jimmy Hensley. We'll be right back. Mike Joy with Neil Bonnet at the Hardee's 200 in Richmond, where Bobby Labonte leads. Jeff Gordon in the Ford runs in second. Jimmy Spencer lined up in third. Kenny Wallace is fourth, and Chuck Bound is fifth. Moments ago, Jamie Obey, one of the Busch North contenders, former champ, dropped off the pace. And also backing up just a bit in the field has been Ward Burton. You're having a look at the leaders there, Bobby Labonte, and here's Burton, who has been passed by Steve Grissom. Glenn Jarrett, what's the problem?
Mike, I talked to Rick Wren, crew chief on Ward's car. The car is extremely tight right now. That's one of the problems that these guys have when they have rain, real cloudy, wet day yesterday. They didn't get much practice. The atmosphere has changed completely, so they've missed the setup. They're hoping for a caution flag, but the one thing they don't want is that caution flag to be them. They say that with 3 or 4 rounds of bite out of the car, they think they can be competitive, so they're just kind of biding time right now.
He's dropped back to just out of the top 10. Battling Clifford Allison there. gets underneath him, and he'll move up a notch.
Well, a place like Richmond, they're saying that car's a little bit tight. As tight as these corners are above, when it's tight like that, you just can't get back in the throttle. The guy will get under you, stand in the gas, and leave you sitting there. They've got to loosen that car up for him to be able to make a move.
Jamie Obie's car coasted into the pits, and now Butch Miller is on pit road. Here's Joe Nemechek.
Mike, just 2 laps earlier going into third turn, boy, he went sailing up and just about knocked the wall down, and then he went down in the first turn. I thought he had a tire problem, but he might have just got out of the groove. But at both ends of the racetrack, he almost hit the wall.
And he slid back to 11th spot, Neil.
When something happens like that, Mike, you almost roll out of gas and, hey, what's happening with this thing? And kind of shake it around a little bit and see what's happening. And he lost several positions before he found out he didn't have a tire going down.
Had been running in 4th. Here's Butch Miller, 3rd pit stop of the day, 2nd under green. And they'll go and put left sides on the car this time. Long day for the Charlie Henderson team. Bobby Labonte started this race up toward the front and went quickly to the front. He squared off from 3rd position when they dropped the green, and now he's opening up a little daylight on Jeff Gordon. By the way, the sky is clearing here at Richmond. We had expected thunder showers throughout the afternoon, but it looks like we'll get this one in its entirety.
Mike, you know, this morning, everybody was saying there's just no way we'll race, and all of a sudden, the thing broke a little bit. They dried the track off, and now it looks like a spring afternoon.
Don Leonard was down in the trailer. He was nailing together boards for the arc. I thought we were going to need them. Miller's back on the racetrack. We completed 67 laps. We're past quarter distance. Here's the story. Bobby Labonte leads Jeff Gordon. And further back, Harry Gant moves up on Chuck Bound and Jimmy Spencer. Up ahead of them, Kenny Wallace in 3rd. Gant right now is 6th, looking for 5th. He is only 2.8 seconds back of the leader.
You know, Mike, that's got to be a question again for his crew. Everywhere they go, just like I said, they barely got in. They missed Daytona. Last year, they barely got in the race. They qualify in the rear. They never can get that car to qualify well, but once the race started, it just comes clicking to the front. And it's got to be a mystery to them what's going on.
They started today's race 28th, and he's now up to 5th. Pretty fast work.
And going still further to the front as we watch.
That's Jimmy Spencer just ahead in the red automobile. Number 45, the Molly Black Gold car.
That might be some kind of agreement they have with their sponsors, that they start in the rear and get a lot of TV time. Because Harry is continuously just marching his way from the rear to the front every time we show him.
Well, they're doing a good job for Mac Tools, if that's the case.
Yep. And that is no slouch of a race car. He's driving up the side. That car is running 4th. Jimmy Spencer.
You know how bad the rumor mill is in the garage area? Harry was fogged in yesterday morning trying to get to the racetrack. I guess they couldn't land their plane. And Kenny Schrader, who just plain loves to drive, walked over to Ed Whitaker's crew and said, you know, I know Harry's not here to practice the car. If you want, I'd love to take that thing out for a few laps, see how it run. He got in the car and went out, ran it a few laps, and all of a sudden the whole press corps was running around trying to figure out if Harry'd lost the ride, if there were problems, so on and so forth. I asked Bob Best with Mac Tools that yesterday. He just shook his head and he says, you can't believe the stuff that goes on around here. He says, Harry's our driver. The deal's for the full season. The deal is on this car. He says, we're going to run to the front and win some races.
I'll tell you what, anytime there's a race car sitting around and nobody's in it, Schrader will jump in it. He likes to run all the time.
Right. Well, I don't care if it's your local 8th-mile dirt track or if it's Daytona. There are never any cars in the garage area without drivers. There are a lot of guys walking around with their helmet bags looking.
Yeah, and if you'll notice, they don't stay out of the seat long. They usually sit in there so nobody will hop in.
Right. Bobby Labonte getting into some race traffic and opening up a good margin as Jeff Gordon in the number 1 car. The Baby Ruth Ford has to deal with Kenny Wallace.
Mike, we noticed earlier in the race that the longer they ran, the better Kenny Wallace got. And he's been all over Jeff. Here he is. He's trying to make a run up on the inside of him. Same deal. Maybe he can't clear him there, but he wants him to think that he can. He wants Jeff to look in that mirror and say, where's Kenny? And you get him thinking inside, and he's got to give you a little bit of room right there.
We've been caution-free now for the last, 45 laps. 1 yellow so far. Mike Wallace brought it out. That car has now been put behind the wall. 75 laps complete. They'll run 200. Tom Peck getting overlapped, and there's Tommy Ellis. going a lap down. You don't see that very often at Richmond.
Boy, I tell you what, it looks like that when they got up there and put the pressure on Jeff Gordon, whenever Wallace put the pressure on him, he stepped right on up the pace, and now he's running right on the back of the track on the race leader.
One car with a lot of smoke there from the right front, just ahead of Harry Gant's machine. I believe that was Richard Lassiter's car, number 5. Now dropped back a bit.
We're looking at Harry Gant at the rear of the our camera car, and not only that, Harry Gant is within about 50 yards of the leader. We've got the first 4 cars right in a pack, and Gant is just running all over them.
Gant and Kenny Wallace likely the 2 quickest cars here right now. Trouble in 4. Robert Presley is spun up into the wall with Joe Bessie. Here comes the field. Davey Allison went high, Jim Bound went low, and everybody gets by without incident. A lot of smoke trailing from Presley's car.
Well, I tell you, all the leaders, the entire lead pack ran right in on that. They did a good job of not getting tied up together.
You know, I think he's really bent the toe. A lot of that smoke's coming from the left front.
Yeah, you know, they said they made a lot of changes on the car. They were changing springs and all a while ago, and it might not have been like you wanted and just turned it around, getting down in the corner.
Well, we'll check in the Presley pits when we come back to Richmond International Raceway. Bobby Labonte leads. Jeff Gordon, Kenny Wallace, and Harry Gant. You're looking at Robert Presley's car that brought out this caution. Mark Garrow can assess the damage.
Well, he broke a brake rotor that cut the brake line and also cut the left front tire, and that is what caused the problem for Robert Presley. They have really killed the left side of this race car. They will be in here for a long, long time. Chuck Bound just passes by. He comes in for a second time as Ricky Pearson and that Alliance Truck Training Center's Oldsmobile crew going to work on Robert Presley's car. Tough break for him. He is going to be a challenger throughout most of the year for the point standings, and this is certainly not as good. Certainly is not going to help.
And NASCAR, it's Rich Bergdorf, one of the NASCAR officials telling him they want to put that car behind the wall for further work on it.
Mike, I'm sure they're going to make them repair that brake system. When that rotor flies off, it cuts all the lines and everything with it, so they'll make you put some brakes on it before they finish.
1 to go, and we'll be racing, and the drag race off pit road is won by Bobby Labonte, but right with him are the Waltrips. Here's Glenn.
Well, Mike, one guy who was glad to see that caution come out was Davey Allison and his crew chief here, Red Farmer. They were just about to get lapped. What's Davey saying about the car, Red?
Well, the car feels pretty good. The only trouble we got, like I told you earlier, we brought a donkey to the Kentucky Derby. You can't bring a super speedway car to a short track because your weight percentage is all messed up. So we're just hanging in there. This is the same car we run at Rockingham on the big tracks, and it just won't work on the short track. So we're just going to have to take our lumps till we get a short track car built.
Okay, back upstairs, guys.
Neil, that's a good point. For our newer race fans, these may look like the same cars at Rockingham, but they're not. More on that in a minute. First, here's Mark.
I'm down in the Chuck Bound pits. Crew Chief Jeff Hensley is talking with them right now. They made 2 stops on pit road. Jeff, what was the problem with the race car? You were fading back. He's talking with Chuck Bound just a second. Green flag's out. What was wrong with the car, Jeff?
We had a lug nut get hung up in the socket, had to come back an extra time. Won a few times that the Nescafe NetC team has problems on pit road, but, you know, it's still a long way to go.
We're back under green. Way back in the pack is Kenny Wallace. They had a long pit stop. Up front, Bobby Labonte and Darrell Waltrip. Darrell and Mike Waltrip right up there in the race off pit road after those caution flags.
There's Mike Waltrip on the outside. His little Busch car is always real strong. He's trying an outside move and couldn't pull it off.
Mike Waltrip being passed by Jimmy Spencer on the inside. Spencer's been flying every time they drop the flag, and is able to hold his own pretty well.
Talking of holding your own, Darrell made a good move in and out of the pits. He got right on the leader, and a while ago he was running about 10th or 12th, and now he's able to run with the leader since he got that track positioning.
So they are first and second. Jimmy Spencer runs third. Mike Waltrip is fourth. Harry Gant had a good pit stop. He's fifth.
There might not only is Darrell able to run with him, it looks like he might have a little bit for him. He's able to get off in the corner a little bit deeper at times, it seems. If you get around him, it's going to be a different thing.
Out the front 16 cars now are single file. bit of sorting out to get the back of the pack in line. Now they're pretty well done so. Jimmy Spencer trying to move to the front. Dave Resendiz just ahead in the Swanson car. Resendiz 1 lap down, 79. Now Spencer moves up. Harry Gant now has Ward Burton in tow. That's at 4th place. 4th and 5th. Jeff Burton is just a little ways back in 6th spot.
Gant was in a lot better position on that start. He was able to move up after he ran a lot of laps a while ago, and it might take him a while to get the car working on the way he likes it to be able to challenge the leaders.
Let's establish that Ward Burton has lost a lap. As a result of that car dropping back in the field, he went a lap down. Mark?
The rear spoiler on Tommy Houston's Roses Sword Buick is the problem. It actually broke loose, the welding on it that holds it to the back of the trunk. They're now trying to tape it to the back of the trunk and try to hold it on there because it's just flopping in the breeze, so it's really of no use to Houston right now, and certainly makes the car a beast to handle around this racetrack.
Well, they call that 200-mile-an-hour tape, but I don't know, Neil, if it's going to help much in this situation.
I tell you, it might be 200-mile-an-hour, but I don't know if it's 200-pound pressure. That spoiler has so much wind pressure on it, it's trying to blow over backwards. It's going to be hard to hold it down with tape.
Here are the Burton brothers. Jeff in number 8 is on the lead lap. Ward is a lap down in 27, trying to battle back. And Jeff Gordon is right in the picture. And Burton lets him go. Drops back in line behind them, 1 lap down. So Jeff Burton currently 5th, and there's Jeff Gordon, who is 6th. And if you add the two of them together, they're younger than Harry Gant.
Don't rub it in. Harry will be talking to you about it.
He might.
Here comes Jeff Gordon to the inside. He started way back on the restart. He lost a lot of time in the pits, but now he's really coming back up. Looks like they got tied up a little bit with another car in the pits, and he fell back, but he's coming on now.
Another car who had the same problem is Kenny Wallace. Kenny Wallace was way back in the crowd as a result of a lengthy pit stop. And is trying to fight his way back to the front.
Boy, Darrell's staying right there with Labonte, you know, and like I said earlier, he's 10th or 12th in line, but he's got track position, and now he's feeling kind of froggy. He's going to give a run for his money.
Labonte needs a strong run today. He is 25th in the point standings coming in here to Richmond. Chuck Bound came here 27th in the standings, also needs a good day. There's Kenny Wallace, and he has really had to scrap and claw to fight his way back up through this field. And he should be moving right up on 7th place. Jack Sprague had a good stop. Sprague in the 48 car. Staff America holds. He is 7th. And that's the Channel Lock holds right behind Steve Grissom in 9th. Kenny Wallace, the white car's got some racing room. And here's Harry Gant underneath Jimmy Spencer and goes by to take the spot.
Gant's making his move a little early.
Well, he's dispensed with Jimmy Spencer. He's 3rd. Then he'll have Dave Resendiz to get past before he comes up on the 2 leaders once again. Now Kenny Wallace works underneath Ward Burton. Sprague gets bypassed by Steve Grissom. But Grissom has lost whatever little toe he was getting off of Kenny Wallace.
Well, when you have a caution like that, and they got a little mix-up in the pits, it really strung the field out. A lot of real fast cars are having to come up through the pack, and that's tough on a track this size.
And Tracy Leslie just ahead of Kenny Wallace. He is 1 lap back. The Detroit Gasket car. 3 laps to halfway in the Hardee 200 here at Richmond. Part of our full season of coverage of Busch Grand National Series on TNN. We'll bring you more Busch racing this year than all the other networks combined. Take a look from Bobby Labonte back to 3rd spot, Waltrip in 2nd, and here's 3rd and closing, Harry Gant. Harry was a Busch driver for so long, it's almost kind of hard to consider him Winston Cupper.
Yeah, and he runs a lot of the races. You know, they participate in most of the races in conjunction with the Winston Cup thing. So, you know, regular contender. Got a few wheel marks down the right side of it.
So it's a Busch driver in front, Labonte. Winston Cup drivers, second, third, and fourth. Waltrip, Gant, and Spencer. Fifth, sixth, and seventh belong to the Busch Series. That's Jeff Gordon, Jeff Burton, and Kenny Wallace.
Boy, Mike, look how fast Gant's closing in on it. It seems like that car runs at a certain speed, then all of a sudden when things come to it, it really takes off. He's closed in a hurry in the last 3 or 4 laps.
Does he get, pardon my English, but does he get more faster, or do the other guys get more slower as we run?
I think it's a combination. Sometimes you'll have a race car, just like they're saying they can't get that car to qualify good. Usually when you have one that won't do that, it's stuck too good. You know, the car that's stuck too good is a blessing on race day. And it seems like he just stays the same speed. He never gets that much faster, but he never slows down as much as the rest of the field, and they just kind of start coming back to him.
Gant has won the last 2 Busch Series races on this track. Glenn Jarrett?
Mike, I talked to Chris Carrier, who is the crew chief on Harry's car. I asked him if Harry was saying anything about the car. He said, nope, Harry hadn't said a word. When Harry doesn't talk, that means that he's very happy. Obviously, the car is to his liking right now, so these guys don't have a whole lot to do except stand around here and listen for Harry to say something. And the only time he will say something is if something's wrong with the car. Right now, they're all very happy. They think they can win this thing.
And if he does, he'll take the Busch Series point lead. He moves past Darrell Waltrip into second place. Gant has started 6 races in the Busch Series on the new Richmond International Raceway. He's led 4 of them for a total of 7 times, 171 laps. He is the leading lap leader in the Busch Series.
Mike, I tell you a stat that really rung a bell to me a while ago when Mark Garrow said he wins 1 out of every 4 of these Busch races he gets in. That's hard to beat.
Harry Gant currently second and chasing down Bobby Labonte. Mark?
Well, one of the guys who chased Harry Gant to the checkered flag last fall was Robert Presley with a runner-up finish. He came back today with high hopes, but it went up in smoke with a problem.
Yeah, we started out a little bit loose and come in and got the car tightened up. And it was running perfect. You know, we run about 10th faster than the leaders was coming up through there. And one of the slower cars or something there got us going in through, you know, and just knocked us out. So bad day for the Lions Tractor Trailer Training Center.
And I understand his phone has been ringing, Neil. There's a ride or perhaps 2 open on the Winston Cup circuit. And he, like Jeff Gordon, Bobby Labonte, Kenny Wallace, among the drivers being considered. Lapping past traffic here.
And watch Gant's car get down in the corner. Even on the outside of another car, he's able to close that gap down and get down in the corner.
Just moved by Jeff Berry and now Tony Hirschman of the Universal Joint Holds. Let's go a lap down as well. Mike Wallace back on the track. That's the next car, Bobby Labonte. Moves past. Harry Gant is there. Jamie Obey back onto the racetrack after staying in the garage area. In case you missed the news, the Melling team is not here. Harry Gant goes for the lead down at turn number 1. Makes it look easy.
Mike, that took the words out of my mouth. Makes it look so easy. The outside pass on Waltrip, just drive up behind Labonte and just say the old thing off in there. No contest. Right now, he's really hooked up.
It took 107 laps, but Harry Gant has made his way to the front here at Richmond International Raceway. It's Gant the leader. Bobby Labonte in second, and this man, Ward Burton, the point leader, finds himself 1 lap down at the moment. We'll be back after these words and a word from Ward Burton on how many Busch races he'll win this year.
I'd be disappointed if we didn't get 3 or more. You know, it's early in the season. We've already gotten 1. My crew chief and Carlin have got super equipment on the speedways, and they give me good calls. We ought to be able to hopefully get one of them Charlotte races and avenge ourselves a little bit. Man, there's a lot of them out there, but of course there's 40, 50 other Busch drivers that want 3 or 4 wins too. It's going to be real interesting.
TNN's exclusive live coverage of the Hardee's 200 is being brought to you by Napa, because there are no unimportant parts. Mike Joy with Neil Bonnet, Glenn Jarrett, and Mark Garrow. 115 laps down, 85 to go. here at Richmond International Raceway. Harry Gant leads this race. Bobby Labonte is second, but there's a new third-place man in town. Jeff Gordon has come up to the third spot. Let's take you back through the field and show you where your favorite driver is running. This field update is brought to you by Napa, because there are no unimportant parts. This at the halfway point, 100 laps.
There was Mike Walters at the pits. That's an unscheduled stop for sure.
He was in with the rest of the leaders and was the third car off pit road. Back at the caution flag, lap 79. Only 2 cautions.
We just saw Harry Gant pass that donkey. Red Farmer was talking about. He said they brought a donkey to the Kentucky Derby, and Davey certainly had trouble. As a matter of fact, as soon as he was lapped, he turns down pit road. Davey's coming in.
Well, they hung out there as long as they could trying to wait on a caution. Didn't get one. NASCAR's speed limit rules instituted last year to help protect the crews sure makes it tough on a race driver when everybody else is running out there near 120 miles an hour and you've got to come down pit road at 50, 55.
Yeah, it's hard to do. And, you know, I think today it'd be a little bit easier. They were cautious early in the race with pit road wet, but now they got to be careful coming down through there. Boy, I don't know where that mystery gun is they check them with, but they certainly don't hesitate to use it. Debbie put on a set of tires, put on some new shoes on that old donkey to see what she'll do.
Well, he's got 80 laps to find out. He gets a little swirly down there. Still a little damp down on the track apron in turns 1 and 2. Jeff Burton going fast. He's still in the top 10, 10th place. And oops, a little too exciting for this young fella.
You think we ought to get Gant to slow the pace down, wake this young man back up?
Oh, he's got a 2-second lead right now. Starting deep in the field has been no problem for Harry Gant. Last year he won Charlotte by starting 33rd, won Dover in the fall starting 16th, squared off from 28th or 9th spot here today. Won last year from 29th, started 28th here today.
Mike, it looks like the best bet for Gant is to keep him out of the race. If he can't qualify fast enough to get in, you can handle him. If he makes the field, be at last place, he's a threat.
We have to start him a lap down. Kenny Wallace has moved up a notch, and we're about to have a battle here for second place. Behind race leader Harry Gant, there it is. Bobby Labonte about to give way to Jeff Gordon.
Jeff might have a car, the only car at times is capable of racing with Harry for the lead, but he's got to deal with Labonte right here. He's made up a lot of ground. He lost some time on the pit stop, but he's been able to make it up now.
The other car that's coming is Kenny Wallace. He's up to 5th spot behind Darrell Waltrip. Second and third place right here. Labonte in the GM product. Chevrolet, that one is. Gordon in the Ford.
Got a good count on him getting down in the corner now. This is usually where you're able to do something. If you, he got a real loose coming up off the corner.
He did something.
He did some driving to keep him coming around. That's a case like that. It's so easy to take that guy away, take him out on the outside. Cranked her down. He held it down and got out of the front throttle a bit, gave him some room. But that pinches the car down, makes it a little bit looser on the inside.
That was at turn 3 where they are right now. Now coming up out of turn number 4.
It'll probably take him 3 or 4 laps, Mike, to get that a little bit back. When he heats those tires up, he'll have to kind of pace himself and get back up there and make another run on it.
That's the Gino's Pizza Wagon, Bobby Dotter, that they're overlapping. Dotter, the 23rd place car, now 2 laps down. $75 to go. Here's Hardee 200.
Gant just went around Ward Burton, so he's really starting to put some good cars down now.
Ward now 2 laps back. Having a tough day of it after the win last week at Rockingham.
Here's Jeff coming back in. He's kind of reeled him in. That little bit of slip you saw a while ago, you kind of pay a price for it. He heated the tires up, and he's going to have to ease himself back up there and maybe follow him a lap or 2, then he can make that effort again to get around him.
Tommy Houston on pit road. And second place, still a strong battle here. A bunch of fans watching us today up in West Springfield, Mass. at the Eastern States Exposition. Used to be a big racetrack up there, as well as the Multi-State Expo. Race-A-Rama all weekend up there. If you're in New England, take a ride to West Springfield, meet some of your favorite stars, and get a look on what's new for 92. Here goes one more time. Jeff Gordon just doesn't have the jump off the bottom of the corner there. They are 3.2 seconds behind race leader Harry Gant. Let's check with Mark.
Fine. Davey Allison was just in moments ago. His problem, a very simple one. His tire was simply wore out on the right side, right down to the cords. And when that happens, you're just out of luck. You got to come down pit road and right out of contention.
Mike, you know, earlier, Red Farmer said that weight distribution, when we talk about a short track car and a speedway car, that particular car right there was built to run on these big super speedways with front end weight. And when you come to a short track, you need rear weight, left side weight, and you just can't shift it around. The cars are built with it in it, the car body design and all, and you just can't overcome it.
Davey Allison not in contention today, as the second and third place battle moves up on Troy Beebe's car. About 3 seconds behind race leader Harry Gant. Make that now 3.8.
What's ideal in this is to get up beside him right here. Might not do it this lap, but the way to make that pass, you've just got to get up under the guy off two, trying to tie him going down the back straightaway. All you want to do is be beside him and then kind of make the pass on this big dog leg on the front straightaway. Positioning to get under him up off two makes the pass happen over here on this side of the racetrack.
Cliff Allison on pit road. 68 laps to go. Harry Gant pulling out down to a 4-second lead. Bobby Labonte and Butch Miller back in the pits another time. As Bobby Labonte and Jeff Gordon continue to battle for second spot, we'll take this break. From Richmond International Raceway, Harry Gant, the leader. They're all chasing this man, Harry Gant. He lapped Jeff Berry, the Connecticut driver. Started 28th. Presently, he is the leader at lap 137 of this 200-lap contest. He's about 4 seconds out in front. You follow back and look for second place Bobby Labonte. There's Gant going off screen at the bottom of your screen. There's Bobby Labonte in second place. A lot of lap traffic between him and the leader, and 3.5 seconds. Now back just a little bit behind Labonte. Back chewing away at his back bumper a moment ago. Jeff Gordon, the third place car. There's Gordon. He's back in third. And he's got quite a bit of breathing room back to Darrell Waltrip. Waltrip in the fourth position in the Western Auto car. And back behind Darrell in fifth place. With some clear sailing to try to catch Waltrip will be Kenny Wallace. There's Waltrip in fourth, and the 36 car of Kenny Wallace there in fifth. Wallace is about a third of a lap behind leader Harry Gant. There's Kenny. Leaning over into that corner. 60 laps to go. Jimmy Hensley's on the lead lap in seventh position. Chuck Bound is sixth. Jimmy Hensley is seventh. Add Rick Mast to the cars on the lead lap. Let's check with Mark.
Well, this is the first problem for Tommy Houston earlier on today. You can see his spoiler moving back and forth. They had to try to tape it in place long enough to make it of some value. Then more problems for Tommy Houston. Tommy?
Yeah, we put a little more spoiler on it this morning, and evidently the welding cracked on it, and then it worked loose in the race. But now we've got something internally on the engine. On the initial go, I over-revved it. I missed third gear in it, and it broke a ball on the end of a rocker arm. So it looks like we're out for today, but we'll go to Atlanta with the Rosie's Buick and see what we can do.
Tommy Houston would like to wake up tomorrow morning and say, I don't believe we've even had 3 races this year. I want to start all over again.
Well, he hasn't hardly had 3 races yet this season, Mark, but he'll get his chance. Harry Gant is trying to wear him out here at Richmond. Won the last 2 races here for Ed Whitaker. The car was green and white last year, carried skull color. The yellow livery for this season.
Still has skull banded down on the quarter panels.
Yep. and he has a 4-second lead. Battle shaping up back at fourth spot. Waltrip and Kenny Wallace getting rather close together. Pick up with that in a moment here. There's Gant by himself right now, ahead of Bobby Labonte and Jeff Gordon. Thread the needle. Bobby Labonte makes it, Jeff Gordon doesn't. Steve Grissom on the outside, Joe Bessie down low.
Well, I tell you, they went in that corner 3 abreast, and one car went all over Labonte, and he got caught on a little bit of lap traffic, or he might have had a chance to make a pass.
Bold move by Labonte, splitting the 2 laps cars high and low. Todd Bodine followed them through. Now Jeff Gordon's going to have to regroup.
You know, Jeff made 2 real strong runs earlier to get around Labonte, and he didn't quite pull it off, and he might have used up a little bit of the race car that he wishes he had back right now.
Here's Kenny Wallace. You can see he's past Darrell Waltrip. Pulls away from Darrell off turn 2 and down the back straightaway. Nice pictures on board. Kenny working hard.
Lean to the left, make it turn left. Hang your head over anything that'll make it turn, huh?
53 laps to go. 3rd and 4th place here. Make that 4th and 5th place. Gant the leader, Labonte 2nd, Gordon 3rd. 4th place is Kenny Wallace. 5th is Waltrip. Joe Nemechek is 6th, Chuck Bowen is 7th, Jimmy Hensley 8th, and Rick Mast is 9th, the last car on the lead lap. Jack Sprague is 10th, and Ricky Craven 11th.
Mike, you know, it's been a good while since we had that pit stop. Let's go down to Glenn Jarrett and see if he can find out if they'll be able to go the rest of the way without having to stop again.
Well, Chris Carrier said earlier to me that they do not have to stop. If anybody's going to do anything with Harry again, they're going to have to do it on the racetrack. There was some conversation going on a while ago. I asked Chris what it was. He said he was asking Harry how big a steak he was going to buy him tonight. But seriously, Chris told him to save the tires. They had a 12-second lead just to take it easy and just count the laps down to the finish. An update on Mike Waltrip. He is very, very unhappy with his car. This hit is right next to Gant here. Mike came in for an unscheduled stop, took on right side tires. Very ill-handling race car, said he needed to park it.
Glenn, you know, we know we're okay on fuel now, but Davey Allison wore some tires out. Have you heard anyone say anything about tires?
Bobby Labonte is 4.27 seconds behind the leader now. Bobby Labonte Sr. is the crew chief. What's Bobby saying about the race car? What about the tires and what about fuel and going the rest of the way?
We're probably all right on fuel. He's not running real hard to try and save them. You know, we know Harry's ahead of us, but we still got we can't put on less if we get a flag, so we'll be all right.
That's the word from the Bobby Labonte pit. They're just biding their time, waiting to make a charge at the end.
All right, 2 tires per stop is all that they're allowed. That's why they can't go unless it's tough to get only 2. 48 laps left for Bobby Labonte to try and run down race leader Harry Gant. Gant's been pretty unstoppable here over the last year or so. Also in traffic, Labonte's opened up quite a margin on 3rd place Jeff Gordon now.
Yeah, Mike, I've noticed a couple of times one car, Jeff Gordon, been hanging the rear out just a little bit above the corner. Those moves he made earlier might have used up some more tire than he wanted to.
Back up front with Harry Gant.
Cruising right along.
He's led more laps than anyone at this track since they rebuilt it. The Busch Series, anyway. Mike Waltrip, Dale Earnhardt, Larry Pearson, and Kyle Petty, the other current lap leaders. Of those, only Gant will put more numbers on the board today. So you just put Jeff Burton another one down.
Boy, just as he came across the start-finish line, the other car right there in front of him pulled out and almost pinned him up on the wall. He's having trouble getting off the corner and about nailed him up on the wall.
Check, that was not Jeff Burton, it was the 84 car. Glenn Sullivan moved several laps back. Jeff remains 1 down. A lap back are Jack Sprague in 10th, Ricky Craven 11th, Jeff Burton is 12th, 1 lap down, Todd Bodine is 13th. Is Joe Bessie. He is 1 back. 15th is Steve Grissom, 1 lap down. And 16th, Jim Bound. Everybody else is 2 or more laps down. And Gant's lead now stands at 4.8 seconds. We are 43 laps from the finish of the Hardee's 200 here at Richmond. Harry Gant leading. Bobby Labonte, Jeff Gordon, Kenny Wallace, and Darrell Waltrip. We'll be back after these messages and when Kenny Wallace tells us how many races he'll win this year.
You know, you always get a little bit of experience under your belt, and you think you know how to win more and more every year. I'm not going to go into this year saying I'll only win one, you know, so you kind of want to go into the year thinking you're going to win more, so that's our attitude.
At Richmond International Raceway, Mike Joy with Neil Bonnet watching Harry Gant try to disappear from the field. Bobby Labonte runs in second. Jeff Gordon's Ford is third. Kenny Wallace in a Pontiac runs fourth, and the Chevrolet of Darrell Waltrip is the fifth place car. And Neil, that leaderboard pretty evenly split between Busch Grand National regulars and Winston Cup drivers.
Yeah, they've arrived with their cars. It's just situation here with Gant. On a given day, he can get that thing going and just unbeatable. We watch him one lap, he's on the bottom. The next lap, he moves high. When you got a car that runs higher or low on the racetrack, it's hard to beat him. He just puts that thing anywhere he wants to.
In 6 starts at Richmond in this division, he has 3 victories and a 10th place finish, 2 DNFs. Swept both races here last year. Let's look back and find second place. There's Bobby Labonte. Coming off a 30th place finish at Daytona and 22nd at Rockingham. 4 laps down after starting third there. Sat on the pole here last time. Labonte did. Trying to climb up in the points. Let's look back and find Jeff Gordon now. The third place car. Started on the pole today. And then back to fourth. There's Kenny Wallace closing in. Wallace had perhaps the longest pit stop of any of the contenders when the caution came out at lap 80 for Robert Presley's crash. He's had the longest way to come to get back to the front.
Looks like he's actually reeling Jeff Gordon in a little bit. He's just gaining just a small amount getting in each corner.
There's fifth place Darrell Waltrip. He's got a good margin. Well, about 6 car lengths on Joe Nemechek in 87, the 7th place car, who's trying to clear some lap traffic just back of Waltrip. Harry Gant in tight traffic there. Troy Beebe and Tracy Leslie, the 72 car. Richard Lassiter just back. 32 to go.
Mike Gant's running such a tough pace right now that he's actually really gaining on the guys running 6th and 7th place. He's right now we've got 9 cars. There's a big caution off turn 2.
And it's the Baxton Ford, Troy Beebe. The banana boat car took a long slide coming out of turn number 2. He had just been put another lap down by Harry Gant, and he will bring out the 3rd caution of the day. Well, with 9 cars on the lead lap, let's see who makes the dive for tires. And Beebe with a flat right rear tire right down on the rim.
Mikey was trying to get back around and keep going another lap down, and it came off forward wide open. The tire exploded, just about blew the outside fender well off the car on the quarter panel line.
Doesn't do any further damage getting that car back to the pits.
I was wondering about the pit situation here. There's Gant. Gant stayed out. The question is, will any of the other guys come in and try anything to see if they can close in on him?
Pits are open. Waltrip is in. Darrell Waltrip comes to pit road.
Jeff Gordon also. Jeff Gordon turned down in there. It didn't look like anyone had anything for Gant. There might be enough time for these guys to put some tires on and be able to make a move on them.
So pit stops are the order of the day. Phil Davis reaching in and taking out 2 rounds on Jeff Gordon's car, and 3 rounds coming out of Darrell's car in the right rear.
Well, I was kind of surprised that they didn't put tires on the car. You know, Darrell's putting 2 tires on. When you stop like that, you can almost go ahead and put tires as quick as they can add the fuel and do the work. But Darrell did put tires on, and Jeff left his car like it was.
Steve Grissom is in the pits, so is Chuck Bound and Rick Mass. Grissom a lap down. Bound was on the lead lap, and so was Rick Mast. He was the 9th place car. Now more cars pitting. Jamie Obey, Butch Miller, Bobby Dotter, Tony Hirschman is in. So is Jack Sprague, Jeff Burton, and Todd Bodine. Mike Wallace, Joe Bessie, Tracy Leslie's made a stop, and so is Jimmy Spencer, Dave Rezendes, and Mike Waltrip. A lot of pit activity during this caution. The front 2 cars stay on the racetrack. Gant and Labonte. Glenn?
Well, Mike, this is Chris Carey, crew chief on Harry's car. Chris, normally in this situation, you guys would come in and change tires, but you can't do that now.
No, the rule was this morning they changed their mind on the tire rule. They were going to do 2 tires per caution, each caution. They changed their mind. The drivers wanted to do it 1 tire per position. You can do it, 4 tires at one time, 1 tire at a time, whichever you want to. We chose to do all 4 tires on the first caution flag. It's a good rule. It keeps you from spending the whole purse on the tire bill.
Okay, they've already gambled their cars now. Their deal is shot. Let's see what they can do if they can hold them off.
Well, it's a new wrinkle, and Neil, it's not a bad idea. You get 8 tires to run the race, 2 per corner, and it's up to you when you use them.
Mike, just to start this race, just to put enough tires to start these cars is over $40,000 worth of tires just to roll them out to start the race. So they're looking back for them.
Let's have a look at the incident that brought out the caution, and in particular, you'll want to look at Bobby Labonte's car. He had a near miss on this one.
So here we come on. He's got the car sideways. He's backing up across the racetrack. Boy, he just came right in between them. 2 cars, one right in front of Labonte. He cleared it, and then he followed him through.
We'll look for green this time. The restart will come with 27 laps to go. Green flag. Harry Gant and Bobby Labonte now have Kenny Wallace in 3rd, and that's Jimmy Hensley diving under Joe Nemechek for 4th.
One guy that really made a good move was Walter, jumped in the middle there. He's got the only set of fresh tires. He got out early. He didn't put tires that first stop. He's got the only new tires on the car right now.
There's Darrell right behind Joe Nemechek, 4th and 5th place. Right with him, Jimmy Hensley. In the 25 car, the blue car, and Jeff Gordon is just behind them. Moving up on Ricky Craven in 99. Trouble in 1, 3 cars, 4 cars up in the wall. Jack Sprague was the last one in. There's Jim Bound scooting away. Jeff Burton is up against the wall, and his brother Ward right alongside. Caution flag.
Boy, a lot of damage to the front of that car.
Jeff Burton was one of the first ones up there. He and Jim Bound appeared to tangle to get that one going. Ward Burton got right in the middle of it, and then Jack Sprague came in late trying to take avoidance. Jim Bound's car to the tire rub. Fourth caution of the day. 4 cars involved in turn 1. Everybody catches up to the pace car. Jeff Burton has made it down to pit road.
He's going to be there a while, Mike. That thing has got a lot of damage. The toe end's knocked way out on it. The frontal area is smashed in. He's going to be there for a while.
And the right front is shortened way up.
It's a shock for one of those tire guys. It's going to change. He runs around there and changes the tire. He says, man, this thing's aimed in the wrong direction. What am I going to do?
So both the Burton brothers are on pit road. Here's Glenn.
Well, you can see there's a lot of damage to the front end of Ward Burton's car there. It mostly looks like it's superficial damage. There doesn't seem to be anything that has pierced the radiator. They're just pulling stuff away right now. They're going to get him back out there. There's only about 25 laps to go, so they're just going to let him get out there and ride around. He's obviously not going to be up to full speed, but doesn't look like there's any frame damage on the car, anything to keep him from going out there and finishing the race. He is the points leader. He needs to make as many laps as he can.
What they were pulling on looked like a piece of the dryer hose they used to connect the duct to the front brake to get some fresh air to it. Just unraveled on them as they tried to pull it out.
It's like pulling on a slinky. They think they're going to get the end of it. It's a long way to the end.
Right. bent and broken pieces.
Souvenir for somebody. They got the black flag out for Steve Grissom in the 31 car. He didn't see it the last time by. They're waving at him again. Yeah, he did. He's turning down pit road now. They had it out for him the last time by.
But Sullivan in the pits and Jeff Burton's car is still being worked on. Mark?
We're in the Baby Ruth Ford pits of Jeff Gordon, his car owner, Bill Davis. Bill, you took on 4 tires earlier, but you still came in and made a pit stop. It looks like you guys are gambling and trying to make something pay off big here at the end.
Well, we were real tight, had been all day. We didn't really think we had anything to lose. So we came in and put some gas in the car to take some nose weight out of it, took some wedge out of it to loosen it up. And he said, what little they ran there, he said it was a little bit better. We didn't get to practice this morning because of the rain, and we probably overcompensated from yesterday. When we qualified, we were touched loose, so we probably got the car too tight. Or we definitely got the car too tight. So we didn't really have a lot to lose. I think those guys were going to drive by us anyway, so we figured we'd come in and see what happened.
So Jeff back out on the racetrack in 6th position. Steve Grissom was black flagged for pitting too early under that caution flag. And Tony Hirschman is on pit road with the hood up. There is Ward Burton's car with the hood up. Yeah, more or less. The hood up and the nose gone.
They'll have to tie that down. They won't let him restart the race with it flopping that bad. They'll have to put some bungee cords on it or either take the hood off the car. Here they come with the bungee cords. It looks like they're going to try to, no, they're just going to snatch it off, get it out of the way.
1 week here, the point leader, and the next week, 21 laps to go. Trying to unhinge the hood on Ward Burton's car. Looks like they'll have about a lap to do it. He may lose a lap here in the pits. Can't get that hood off. 1 to go.
Mike, I'm not so sure that Darrell Waltrip's not really in good shape. He was the only guy, you know, he made that big move early. He went way in the back to the front by not putting tires on it. That left him the option of getting those tires on that last stop, and he moved up real quick when the race restarted. He's probably sitting in the best shape of the top 4 or 5 cars with the freshest rubber on that car right there.
Ward Burton's crew took him a while to get the hood unhinged, and now they've got to undo the strut rod that holds it up. NASCAR won't let him use a cutting torch over on that side of pit road, or that work would go pretty quickly.
So would the whole pits with all that fuel sitting around down there.
Yes. How about an air chisel?
Yeah, we used to use those a lot. You don't see it used very much anymore.
Pete Babb is the official on the scene there, trying to make sure that enough of that race car is tied together that if he goes back out there, he won't be a hazard. Green flag once again. Harry Gant in number 7, leading Bobby Labonte in 44. Kenny Wallace in white 36 right with them. They'll have 19 laps to shake this one out. Here's Waltrip coming up the outside, just at the top of your screen.
Made a good, strong move to the outside. Nemechek, and looks like he's got him going down in the corner.
But lap traffic in the person of Todd Bodine just ahead may give Nemechek the open door. Lap car drops to the inside. Well, actually right up in the middle of the groove. Now back to the outside.
Boy, that's just a situation of catching traffic at the wrong place at the wrong time. Looked like he was able to really make a move, and then these 2 cars in front of him are lapped and really got things cut off for him.
Nemechek got out of the throttle there for a second. Jeff Gordon almost got right into the back of him.
Darrell should be able to turn down right here and pass both these cars off the corner as good as his car is working. Here he comes to the inside.
Todd Bodine up there trying to give him enough room and work the twice-lapped car of Ricky Craven up high. Now Waltrip's got some racing room. He's now the 4th place car. Still 9 cars on the lead lap, back to Rick Mast and Chuck Bound.
The problem with all this, while you're working traffic, the leader, Harry Gant, is just got open track just sailing away.
Now, Jeff Gordon had caught Waltrip, but now he's got his own troubles a little further back. Back up front, Harry Gant and Bobby Labonte.
It looked like Gant had a little bit of trouble the last couple of laps. He went in the car, and the car's not wanting to turn. It's sliding out on him. These guys are getting up under him off the corner.
Labonte and Wallace, who finished 1-2 in the Busch standings a year ago, are right there. knocking on the back door of old man September.
Mike, you know, we talked earlier, Gant's car gets better the longer it runs. That little bit of slowing down, he might be too tight. If he can hold them off for a few laps, he might get away from them. But they put plenty of heat on Harry right now.
These kids are going to get him. Now is the time. 14 to go.
You can get to him. Getting him could be a different deal. But here's a good move. Here's what we talked about all day. Get up under him right here and try to tie him up off the corner. Try to be dead even. You ain't got quite enough shot up off there. But if you stay beside him, you've got a good chance off the fourth turn.
Kenny Wallace that time went up the high side with Harry Gant instead of with Bobby Labonte on the bottom. They helped Gant just a pinch.
Yep.
The only reason he helped Harry Gant is if he thinks he can beat Harry Gant.
You're exactly right. These two guys are racing real hard, giving Harry just a little bit of breathing room. Wallace looks like he's going to make the pass stick on the outside.
If he does, he'll have 13 laps to catch Harry Gant. Make that 12 laps now to catch Gant.
It looked like Gant's car had given up on him just a little bit earlier, but these two guys racing him certainly helping him right now.
There you see Labonte's car through the window net of Kenny Wallace. Up a little, back a little.
Yep. There he is, right beside Labonte. See Labonte out the window net, right there, door handle to door handle. And these boys are having fun right now.
Yeah, but and don't think this is easy, folks. You're running that car just every bit as hard as it'll go. They're so evenly matched.
And Gant's looking in the mirror and say, boys, y'all have at it. Have a good time back there.
Yeah, have fun, fellas, because I'm getting down the road. We're inside of 10 laps, 9 to go.
I'm not so sure either one of these cars here, both of them might have had an opportunity to beat Gant, but with this going on, he's getting away from him.
Labonte and Wallace battle for second and third. Darrell Waltrip now the fourth place car. Nemechek is fifth. Rick Mast is sixth. Jimmy Hensley is seventh. And Jeff Gordon's dropped back to eighth. That chassis change apparently did not help. Now that time down into one, Labonte carried Wallace a little further up the racetrack before they made the turn in.
Yeah, you keep doing that, they'll run out of racetrack in a minute. They're doing a good job running this much side by side without getting together, but each lap, the danger of that happening gets stronger and stronger because they're getting the tires hotter and hotter racing that hard.
You know what's surprising? The fans are on their seats. If this was for the lead, they'd be standing, but I think the fans sitting here have given this one away to Harry Gant. They are sitting down. 7 to go.
Kenny's able to make some ground up getting in the corner, and here comes Labonte back up off the corner every time. Labonte's car got a little bit loose off the corner. If you run at the inside line, you work the tires a little harder. A couple of more laps of this, Kenny might be able to do something with him, but Labonte lost a little bit of ground off the corner that last lap.
Well, even if Gant gets the win, these two are battling for Busch points right here, as well as second place.
This deal here, you just try to get an inch every lap. When you're running side by side with guys, you say just get a little bit here, a little bit there, and try to add it all together. This lap car could be the situation Kenny Wallace is looking for, just to kind of stick Labonte off to the inside. And it's 3 abreast, and it did it. It worked out for him. The lap car, but he slid up, and here comes Labonte right back under him again.
Kenny Wallace tried to use Troy Beebe as a pick, and Labonte got well out of shape coming off the corner there. They're right back where they were. 4 laps to go. That's the differential, first to second and third. Waltrip in fourth, Nemechek fifth.
Boy, they're just running every lap just like the last lap. If one of them ever clears the other one totally, he can pull over and take the entire track. But neither one of them can ever get completely by. At this point, see, he's by him, but he can't turn down. He's driven in so hard, he slides out, and here comes the 44 right back on the inside.
2 to go. Great battle for second spot. They are 1 second behind Harry Gant. Lapped car. And this time, Labonte uses Ward Burton as a pick and pins Kenny Wallace behind him.
Now, will Kenny go straight to the inside? He's tried outside. Can he try him back on the inside now?
He's got 1 lap left to do it. because this time as they come past start finish, white flag for Harry Gant. Trying to three-peat here at Richmond. Gant on the left of your screen, lapping past Tommy Ellis. And here's second place on the right side.
Kenny's got the inside line, but they're coming up on some lap cars. But that inside preferred lane, it looks like he's going to be able to make the move, and he has. He got under Labonte up off 4 turns.
Gant will win it, and by just a car length, Kenny Wallace takes second, 0.8 of a second behind Harry Gant. What a great battle for second place. Between the two men who battled all season long for the Busch Series championship. We'll meet with Harry Gant in victory lane here at Richmond International Raceway right after this word.
Step out on a clear night. But if you want to see them up close, come to the International Country.
Today's coverage of the Hardee's 200 on PNN has been brought to you by Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car. And by Miller Genuine Draft, cold filtered for real draft taste. So get out of the old, get into the cold. Let's get into victory lane. Glenn?
Well, Harry Gant, if you ever have some problems, you need to cure them, you just come to Richmond. That's 3 in a row here.
Yeah, we've done good. You know, our new sponsor, Mag Tool, and, you know, of course, we got Skull on there, too. We're just tickled for them today that we won the first race we've run. We didn't make Daytona, so it's our first race with our new sponsor, Mag Tool. And crew done a good job. The car, Mag Tool Buick handled perfect all day. Everything was, I just saved the tires and took it easy and just strolled around, you know, and everything worked out to our advantage. I'd like to say hello to Chris, our crew chief's father. He just had a heart attack and doing fine over back in Tennessee, and all the people back in Taylorsville. Hope we can say this again tomorrow, but we were lucky here today and we feel fortunate to win the race today.
You sure got a knack for starting way back in the field. Does that make you work harder as a driver?
Well, you just got to be, you don't work harder, but you have to be a lot more precautious, you know, what's happening and look so far ahead all during the race. It's a relief to get to 5th, and you don't have to look so far ahead of you to see what's happening and pick your moves way before you get there. When you get to 5th, you can kind of play it by ear after that. But it's every time we run up here, we start at the back in the Busch car, but we've won a lot.
Looks like all you guys got to do is just get in the race then.
That's all we got to do. We make a race, we're okay. That's our goal every time, is just to make the race, and we can run good, we get in it.
Okay, Mike Joy.
Harry Gant had a great day today. Mark Garrow?
We're in victory lane with Chris Carrier, the winning crew chief. As Harry Gant just said, if you get into the race, you guys are trouble. You proved it again today.
Yeah, we usually, it's about the same story with us. I don't know what it is. We have a little bit of trouble qualifying, and we always start somewhere back there toward the back, but we don't get too excited about it. We do a lot of work at the shop and at the racetracks trying to make the car run a long segment of green laps on the tires and keep running consistent, and that's the whole name of the game. And I tell you, the fields in these Busch Grand National races are just tremendously competitive, and we kind of proved this out at Daytona. We didn't get in the lineup, almost missed the lineup here, but still, if you have a good car that races good, you can still win races.
Chris, on behalf of Miller Genuine Draft, we would like to award you with the Pit Crew of the Race Award. I know you've got a super bunch of guys.
I tell you, we got #1, the guys at the shop, Pete Ball, Malin Whitaker, Leonard Bowers, Phil, Bruce, the whole gang. And the guys in the pits do a super job every race. You know, nothing, I'd like to have some wood to knock on right now. I guess I'll knock on this, but nothing seems to ever happen to this car. And the guys take a lot of pride. Each one of them's got their own duties. They take a lot of pride in what they do, and they don't want this car to fall out. And we know that our goal each race is just to get Harry to the end of the race, put him in a position to win with nothing wrong, and we think he'll usually do his job. And I'd like to say thanks to Miller Genuine Draft for their participation. Appreciate it.
Back upstairs to Mike Joy.
And we'll have the complete field roll for you. Here's Harry Gant winning the race over Kenny Wallace, who bested Bobby Labonte in that great duel for second spot. Darrell Waltrip got fresh tires to finish 4th. Joe Nemechek wound up 5th this afternoon, add to his point total. Rick Mast was 6th, Jimmy Hensley 7th, Jeff Gordon was 8th, Chuck Bound was 9th. They all finished on the lead lap. In 10th was Joe Bessie, 11th Ricky Craven, then Jack Sprague, Todd Bodine, Steve Grissom, and Jim Bound in 15th spot. Clifford Allison, Mike Waltrip, Jimmy Spencer, Dave Rezendes, Tommy Ellis soldiered to a 20th place finish. Bobby Dotter, Richard Lassiter, Tom Peck, Tracy Leslie, and Davey Allison back in 25th. Then Jeff Berry, Ward Burton had a tough day. Troy Beebe, Glenn Sullivan, and Butch Miller, 30th. Finally, Jeff Burton, who ended up in the fence, Tony Hirschman, Jamie Obey, Mike Wallace, and Tommy Houston. Robert Presley, first car out of the race today. Here's how the point standings shake up as they go down the road, and we'll talk to you next in Martinsville, Virginia, in a couple of weeks here. Kenny Wallace becomes the point leader by virtue of that second-place finish. He leads Ward Burton by 13 points. Steve Grissom, another 26 back. Ricky Craven, a point behind Grissom, had a good run here today to boost him to 4th in the points. And then Davey Allison, look, the top 4 in the point parade after 3 Speedway races are all Busch Series regulars. Let's go back down to the garage area.
Well, I'm standing by with Bobby Labonte. Unfortunately, he was the loser of that furious 2-car battle for second place. Bobby, tell us what happened there in those last few laps.
Well, the inside lane really wasn't the place I wanted to be, and tried to get by Harry there, and I didn't make it, so that led Kenny to get on the outside of me. So we just had to be in a position didn't really want to be in. I done this 2 years ago. I did the same thing and lost second and third again. I think I learned, but I didn't. But I don't know. We had a good race, and the way our luck's been, third place isn't bad right now because the Slim Jim Chevrolet's been running good. We just hadn't had the good luck to go with it, so maybe today turned us around a little bit.
Okay, let's go back to Mark Garrow, who is with Kenny Wallace.
Kenny Wallace is not a very happy man. You're finding it hard to smile. Kenny, you finished second. Smile.
Well, you know, I'm happy. Richmond is a good racetrack for us, and we always seem to finish second or third here. Myself and Dale Earnhardt got into one of those side-by-side deals, you know, with about 20 to go here last time. You know, I'll take second. That was a good run. Got us up there in the points. But, you know, what can I say about the Dirt Devil Pontiac coming out, you know, first time at Hickory, great sponsor, and Felix Sabatis, to be running this good right away makes us feel good. So we'll take second.
Do you think if you had cleared Bobby Labonte quicker, or when you first started on that restart, that you might have had something for Harry Gant?
Oh, most definitely. You know, you don't want to sound cocky and say you could have done it, but that was the plan. We got 4 tires at the halfway mark, and everybody else got 2. Plan was to take it easy on tires and get up through the pack, and it worked perfect. I didn't want to see that yellow there with about 20 to go. I thought I could have got by Bobby and then went ahead and tried something for Harry, but he's the old man. He's tough, you know.
Mike?
Thank you, Mark. Great run for Kenny Wallace. He'll go to the top of the points, and Bobby Labonte will climb from 22nd of the points going into this race to well up in the standings. Today's copyrighted telecast of the Hardee's 200 is produced under broadcast rights granted by Richmond International Raceway and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any retransmission or reuse of the pictures, accounts, or descriptions of this event without the express written consent of the Nashville Network is prohibited. Neil Bonnet, packed house. They saw a great day of racing.
I tell you what, you know, I heard Gant say he feels better and relieved when he gets to 5th. They feel bad when he gets there. He's coming.
He got to the front and won it. Harry Gant, a winner at Richmond International Raceway. For Mark Garrow, Glenn Jarrett, and Neil Bonnet, this is Mike Joy. We'll talk to you next March 22nd, 2 weeks from today, from Martinsville, Virginia.